how will large-scale climate action take place at the pace required and at the scale required if there is no political will? And that is why we're excited to have with us Mr. Thackeray today, because he is one of the few political leaders in India who's actually actively championed climate change initiatives, and he's taken steps to address some of the pressing issues in his state, which we'll get onto. Early in his tenure, if I may say so, he firmly prefixed development with sustainability, declaring 800 odd acres of land as reserve forest in the middle of urban Mumbai, cancelling work on a metro car shed that had led to the cutting of thousands of trees, threatening the ecology of and impacting Adivasi settlements in the area. So with that very brief introduction, Mr. Thackeray, welcome to the India series at King's Business School. I'm going to shortly request you to kick us off with your opening remarks. But before that, some very quick housekeeping points. This session is being recorded and it is being broadcast live on multiple media and social media platforms, including our press partner, NDTV. We welcome debate and dissent. Indeed, dissent is the bedrock of democracy. But while we welcome difference of opinion, we will not tolerate any form of hate speech, any form of abuse or misinformation on our platform. With that, Mr. Thackeray, thanks again for joining us, and may I please invite you to make your opening remarks.
Thank you, Sanam. Thank you, Ms. Gupta, for inviting me. And the very fact that I agreed to this conversation is because it's action-oriented. And that's why I thought it's really important for us to be a part of a debate forum, a platform where we don't just speak, we don't just discuss, but hopefully we act upon whatever has been spoken, or whatever we like and take away from the threads of this discussion. I think while introducing, and I'm going to keep my opening remarks very short because I want to have a discussion and a two-way conversation rather than just my opening remarks. But one of the things I noticed very prominently really is, Sanam, when you were speaking, and when you had your introductory remarks for what is climate change or what could be climate change, and you said imagine. For a moment, I thought I'd close my eyes and imagine of what you were saying. But then very honestly, I think it's time for us to not close our eyes. It's time for us to open our eyes, because the things that you said, extreme rainfall, extreme heat, women fetching water for a long, long distance and probably not going to school, or erratic weather events. All of that you've said is not something to be imagined anymore. All of that you said is not something for closed eyes anymore. If you open your eyes, if all of us open our eyes, we will find this happening in the lane next to us. We will find all of this happening in our own backyards. We'll find this happening in front of our eyes. We've always thought that climate change is a matter of the future. And whenever I get emails from friends or from people in climate change policy action, I think we speak about the next 50 years. We speak about the next 10 years. We speak about the last decade. And one thing this pandemic has taught me is basically we don't have a decade. We don't have 50 years. Climate change is happening around us even today. One of the figures I'd love to give all of you and to, for all of you to think upon is in the year of the COVID pandemic, that's 2020, and it's not yet gone. But last year, we've had erratic weather events in the state of Maharashtra itself. I'm not looking at the world because, of course, there's a lot more happening around the world. But if you just focus in the state that I am, a part of the government, we had erratic weather events, right from hailstorms to unseasonal rainfall, to extended rainfall, to extreme cold weather events and extreme heat waves. We had a storm, we had a cyclone, we had heavy winds that we've never experienced before in the city of Mumbai, something to the tune of almost 110 kilometers per hour on an August day. And we've never seen this before. Neither have I, nor have anyone else seen this before, because I've lived 30 years in Mumbai, spent the entire monsoons in Mumbai, and it's one of my favorite seasons because right from childhood, I have beautiful memories of the monsoons. It's probably one of the best seasons to be in Mumbai, and you'd probably agree to that as well. But when we speak about monsoons now, and when we speak about monsoons as administrators, we have started worrying a little more about it, because erratic weather events have led us to give compensation to, be it farmers, to be it people living in cities or rural areas, be it professionals. It's to the tune of 13,000 crores in 2020. That is what we had to put in as compensation money for people from different walks of life. When we look at the monsoons now, about 120 days of monsoons that existed earlier before. And if you see, it started off on 7th of June and ended around September. Last year, we had monsoons starting off end of July and going on till the end of December. We had rains in January. It's never heard of to have rains in Mumbai in January on a regular scale, not for at least 2 or 3 days. And even if it's a light drizzle, it's unheard of. When we speak about summers, we've had temperatures ranging anything between 34 to 41 degrees Celsius. That's never been the case. And as a student of geography in school, we've always heard that cities like us by the coast have moderate weather temperatures. We've always have moderate climatic patterns. But today, if you see, it's not moderate anymore. Winters have become colder. And if you see around the world today, what's happening in Texas, what's happening in New Orleans, what's happened in Vancouver, Seattle last year, what's happened in Australia, this is not normal. And this is not something that's giving us a span of even half a decade to work on, because climate change, like I would argue, is today, and we are responsible largely for it. Now, the question here would be that what are we doing individually to A, curb climate change, B, can we really curb climate change and get into the mitigation act of it, or 3, adaptation. But while we get into adapting to climate change, are we spurring it furthermore with a greater speed into the spiral that we cannot come out of? Or can we both have mitigation measures and adaptation measures together?